Tony, you're now on a bit of a mission to build something. What is the thing that you are building? What's the legacy that you are wanting to leave behind?
Well, first, it's doing what we're doing here today, Dr.
Yeah.
Joan. It's just having a conversation, unscripted,
Yeah.
with no ulterior motives.
Yeah.
It's just two of us sitting down talking about topics and for people to be able to listen and to learn and hopefully start their own conversations at home.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful when you asked earlier, you said, well, how do you meet the people that you're trying to be mentored by? Here's one example here,
Yes.
right?
Come on in and listen. Yeah.
Yeah, come listen. And this is what I did as a kid. I sat at the table. My parents did not make me sit at the little kids' table.
Right.
I was able to sit at the grown-ups table when my uncle from Puerto Rico would visit and talk about business. And I couldn't spell entrepreneur. I didn't know what that was.
Right.
I knew I wanted to be one based on how he described his life. He was constantly traveling and meeting new people in Spain and all over the world.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between that and today when people have the opportunity to listen to your show? It's that little kid in me listening to people who have been someplace that I haven't been
Yes.
and knowing that, wow, that's possible. You got to be kidding me.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And again, it's one of those two access points. What are you listening to every day? What are you looking at every day?
Every day.
So
Every day.
your podcast is one example of what I'm doing, which is just sharing the information. I can't beat anybody up and make them do it. I'm available if people want to reach out. I'm extremely accessible. And you know why, Dr. Joan, I'm so accessible?
Why?
Because I know only serious people are going to reach out to me.
What is it? What is the legacy that you want to leave?
I think right now the legacy that I really want to leave is a legacy of reimagining and rebuilding manhood.
Mm.
A legacy of reimagining who we're really supposed to be, a legacy of calling to the men to say, hey, it's okay what happened in the past, but let's talk about what we can do about the future. Let's talk about rebuilding. Let's talk about getting our health right, starting with our mental health.
Yes.
I think that's the legacy that I really want to leave at this point.
So what's the one thing you need in order to build it and leave this beautiful legacy behind?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I really need to do it is courage. I think too many times when you really, really want to do something that matters, we allow too many things in life to scare us away,
Mm.
to make us think it's too big, it's too much, it's too it's too large of a task. So on a regular basis, I say, God, give me the courage to speak truth to power, because there are people who don't want
Mhm.
men to come in line, who don't want men to get on one accord, who don't want, the message to get out. And so I say, God, give me courage to speak truth, even in the face of intimidation.
Or what is the one thing that you need in order to continue this journey and build this thing that you're trying to build?
I have a few barriers, that I personally have been dealing with. I still owe restitution related to my case. So I'm still directly connected to the system. And in spite of all of my, that I still will continue to advocate. I think just supporting the work that I'm doing, my ministry call is to do healing and restorative justice work. And so any person that is interested in learning and getting involved and getting engaged in that, and then advocating for the abolishment of that clause on in the 13th Amendment, as well as on the state level. There again are numerous states that still have slavery in their constitution, and it needs to be removed on the federal level as well as the state level. So I just want to empower people, because that will help with my liberation and freedom within this country.
Absolutely. How do you navigate this world that is so electronic based and isolating based to now hey, come on in, have fun in this village. And what do you do to draw them in?
Well, when it comes to our camp, what we do is we limit the use of electronics at camp. We're old school. We want the kids playing board games and, play Uno, play Monopoly, play dominoes, play checkers, right? We
Yeah.
want them to interact and go out and play. I mean, even the teens in our program, we like, look, man, put your phone down, right?
Yeah.
And we tell them, if we see you with your phone out, you're not supposed to have it. We'll take it, we'll put it in the safe and give it to their parents when they come back, because we want them to socialize and to interact so that they have those social skills. And so in our programs, we limit it. One of the things we recommend to parents is to do the same thing. When you come home, put the phones up, right? Just sit them on the counter and spend that time, because most families spend maybe 20 minutes together a day, right?
Yeah.
You figure a 24-hour period, parents aren't able to spend a lot of time with their children. And then social media or just gadgets, we'll say, takes away that other time. So it's a collective effort to minimize the use of technology, not because technology is bad, but just because, socialization, those other things are so needed, especially after COVID. We've just seen a ton of kids that were impacted by that.
Yeah.
And so they needed even more to catch up socially.
Awesome. What is the one thing you feel like you need right now, Shaun, in order to go to the next level, do the next thing, and do it big and fantastic in all the ways that you can? What is the one thing that you feel that you need?
Biggest thing I need is exposure. I think that we have great products. I think we have great thing that we're doing, that we've been doing for about 2 decades now. And it's getting it out so that other people know it's there, that they know the resources are there, that the magazine is there, the products are there. That's the biggest thing I need right now. And so, that's one of the things that we're working very hard on, is to get on as many platforms as possible to let people know that, what we have is available, because we've been able to prove that it works, that it motivates youth, that it does everything that parents want and need for their children. And so we just want as many parents to know, hey, look, here it is, here's a resource for you, use it. Yeah.
How do we discover who we are? How does the 7-year-old discover who they are? How does the 15-year-old discover who they are? How does the 30-year-old and the 50-year-old and the 80-year-old?
Hopefully the 7-year-old has some parents who are not outsourcing and are asking those questions themselves.
Yeah.
And are at least setting the child up and put the child in a position where the child is capable of having inquiry about who they want to be themselves when they're no more. The 15-year-old, the same thing. The 35-year-old, I think the 35-year-old can say, hey, you can ask if today was your last day, and whatever you believe in. If it's God, the universe, the spirit, some celestial being, you call it divine, whatever it is. If that thing whispered in your ear and said, you're out of time, unless you can convince me that you're worthy of more time. So what are you going to do with the time? Then I think you figure out pretty quickly who you want it to be.
Yeah.
But because we act as if tomorrow is always guaranteed, we don't spend any time, evaluating ourselves and what we want in the end. And very well, today, as Les Brown famously says, here today, going today.
Yeah. And that statement, the unexamined life is not worth living. Right? Comes forward for me as I listen to you say that. And I think, for those of you who might be having some difficulty with the question, who am I? I think just first asking the question, right? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't put it into the things that you do. You think about it as your way of being, right? And then beyond your way of being, then even your purpose. But a lot of us don't even ask that question either, because asking the question of purpose, some people associate with being religious or spiritual, and then some people don't even want to go there. But I always say that being spiritual it requires you to answer the question, who am I? It's a personal way of knowing, and it's a personal way of seeking to understand self. That's what spirituality is really all about.